What's up, guys? It looks like we're finally live here. Alright, on today's live, let's see. First, this is my first time doing this, so I have to make sure that it actually works, so bear with me. One moment, please, while I figure this out real quick. I'm not sure if this is even working right now, and I can't tell. Give me one moment, you guys. Bear with me. Alright, I have no idea if it's live or it's not. Let's see. Looks like the feed is good. It seems like it's working. I have no idea if I'm live right now. That's actually incredible. I can't tell. I'm even trying to check my channel from a phone, and I do not see any live feed. That's not good. Alright. Okay, looks like we are alive. Indeed. Bear with me, guys. Okay. And we are live. Very good. Alright. So today I'm going to be checking out some charts here with you guys. Hopefully somebody joins the chat. That would be great. But if not, I'm going to be doing my job anyway. I'll post this for you guys later. Make sure we're recording this. Alright, so let's take a look at what's going on with this natgas chart. So, first thing that I'm looking at is to try to find some sort of pattern that's actually playing out right now. We're going to use a little bit of seasonality to figure it out, and we're going to use the indicators to tell us about momentum and study some chart patterns, and hopefully we'll get a good idea of where this is going. You can see that the cycles analysis is actually pretty spot on with this thing, and what I like to do is kind of figure out the strength of where something is going to go by using the cycles that we see repeating within the stock. So for instance, like if we go back here, we can see that the cycles could be delayed sometimes, and they could play out a little bit later. So for instance, what happened here is that the price kept pushing up. We see that the cycle wants to turn, right? So we see this topping pattern sort of develop here that replicates the tops of these cycles, and what happens then is that eventually, there it goes, right there, right there. The cycle sort of repeats itself. natgas is notorious for just repeating these cycles pretty spot on, so they're pretty easy to spot. You can see here that the cycle strength again, is a little bit different, but it's repeating the same cycle pattern as you're going throughout. Here we go again. You're going to see it update. This cycle here was delayed. Here's the pattern, and here's how the pattern actually played out. Here we have the low, matching with the low. So the cycle kind of got back on its horse, and you can see that it then started to match up what it should be doing. So now what we're looking for here, well, we're in a declining phase. We can clearly see that. We are not in one of these. We are not in one of these. We're in a declining phase. We're in a declining phase, and you can see when we're in a declining phase that sometimes, like I said, it does get delayed. So let's say what we can make of it if we base it on that declining phase scenario, right? So as you can see, we have all indicators cross down to the downside. The short term, this is the RSI, right? Short term, no, sorry, this is stochastics. Short term stochastics are negative, but about to turn positive. So we can start looking for a bottom. So here, specifically, when the indicators reached the bottom and they crossed over, that's when we had a little bit of a pop. However, the problem would be where the overall structure is negative to the downside. Here, we have this cross, which would indicate negative forces to the downside. So even if we do get a pop, which would come with this crossover here, this is on the daily, by the way, when this starts to turn up and it goes up, this is actually going to be coming down. So it's going to happen most likely is you're going to get this up, correction in the price, it's going to hit this on the way down and meet somewhere here, and then boom, both get kabooshed. Yeah. So that would actually match up exactly with what the cycle is telling us, isn't it? Right, so we're supposed to have this sort of rise at this moment here. What happens with this indicator here is that this is actually telling us as well that the price is negative. Now this guy on the daily is a little bit delayed, so I wouldn't rely on him exactly because he tends to give you some late signals. You can see that it does get pretty spot on. So we have the positive momentum, everything is nice and green, the price follows along. Now we have this crossover here, we have red, this looks gross. And if you think about it, for this to play out, this could very well track exactly what we're being told by the cycle. Again, we are in a downtrend, right? So now what we can sort of do is that we can estimate where the downtrend is going to take us, right? So we're technically looking for an ABC structure with a 5-leg structure down. This here, A, B, C, we just completed. So now we should get an A, B, C up to the upside. So very likely that we are about to get another one of these cool natgas rallies very shortly here. So A, B, C, this is probably likely A, B, and then C would end somewhere down here. February 17th. February 17th, we can start rallying up again in natural gas in a B, C structure again with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 legs on that C structure. So that's what I'm seeing for natural gas. This guy still looks bearish. Let's see this other structure of it if you look at it this way. So here we're going to see that price rejected at the top of this channel, which was expected. We had a decline. We are now below the cloud. We sort of tried to price stabilizes. When this happens, when you get this much of a deviation from the cloud to where the price actually is, what generally happens is that the price likes to flatten out and revisit that cloud again. Now, the moment you start seeing that it's not maintaining any sort of upward bias, like if it doesn't break through this cloud with force and maintains a positive angle, then you have this flat structure and you're likely going to get rejected again, which is exactly what happened here. Now you had that distance between the cloud and the price happen again. You could see that again. We got up to here, and here is the moment of truth, right? What's going to happen here is either the price comes crashing down one more time, because it's going to want to establish that distance between the cloud and the price again. So let's say you take that measurement from the cloud to the price, right? And you would have a distance start to develop with the cloud. So the cloud would sort of start to play out like that as the price falls sharply one more time in order to get to this guy, this trend line. Right? Wouldn't that make perfect sense? So because we were looking for an ABC down and sort of a 5-wave structure on the way down, that would also match ABC. Here's your larger B, A, B, and this would be C completing on the way down. And probably what's happening is like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave structure down. Right, so that would actually be great. The cloud would actually once again move down. Price would then come down this way, like so, and repeat one of these things, but you'll see that they get smaller, right? So the drop is big, smaller, and finally in that 5th wave, even smaller. It might be just right down to there. So once that happens, the price is then going to flatten out, meet up with the cloud, and then we can have that rally. Likely to go right over, let's see if I get this right. We'll do it with, let's just do it with an arrow, okay? So we'll say right to this way. And then we can check it back against what we think. Okay, let's just do it here on this side. Let's see if that would give us what we anticipate to happen. Yep, look at that. So that would actually, that's crazy. Everything just lines up. That would actually match perfectly with what we're expecting in the cycle, right? It might not be as strong, so if we're trying to line it up with the cycle a little bit better, we can say it goes this way, and that's how you'll have your B up, A, B. So you'll have a small minor, A, B, C, followed by another A, B, C, and then is your final correction down. And I expect that one to meet the outside of this cycle arc that we've had building this whole time this way. So that's my view on natural gas. I think let's check the lower time frame real quick to see if we get any indication of some sort of turnaround. No, so yeah. So even if we check on the time on a 10-minute, this guy's still negative. So what we have here is that we clearly see the force is exerting to the downside, just like here, right? When you got these stair steps down and finally reach to the bottom. And you had basically like this kept getting rejected. So now you had this down, it's going to want to come up, get rejected, get rejected, get rejected, and then eventually flatten out, probably exactly with our line right here. So yeah, this is not positive just yet. And we can see that we have negative momentum here, negative momentum here. We have in the cycle, this is like one of my indicators that I like to use that kind of shows me the cycles within the cycles, right? So this is a cycle, this is a cycle, cycle. What happens is you tend to get reactions in the price during these cycle times. So like right here, the cycle begins, matches here, cycle goes positive, you see that the price actually reacts positively to it. That's a good sign. That means it's sort of either flattening out or basing out, or it's trying to get some momentum going. You'll have times where the price does not react to the cycle. For instance, right here, here's a cycle up where the price should have gone up, but it does not. That's an indication that this is still very bearish to me. There is no reason to be buying natural gas here and now because this guy is in a decline phase. All right, so that's natural gas. Let's see, what else can we review? Let's take a look at Joby. Wow, this thing got clobbered. Everybody was loving this stock. I remember trying to short this thing at, man, this thing frustrated the heck out of me because I was trying to short this thing at around, yeah, around like here, around like 15 or so. And it just did not want to go anywhere for the longest time. It just kind of sat. It sat. Oh my goodness, it sat. Look at that. It's just sat there forever. So I just kind of gave up on shorting it because it just did not want to drop. I knew it was coming. I knew it. Look how long they just wore people out. Oh, this was so frustratingly annoying. And there it goes, finally. One day they just decided, oh, we don't need the flying choppers anymore. This is stupid. I mean, that was pretty obvious. It was ridiculously obvious. So this looks, let's see here. What can we make of this chart? This slop, oh goodness. That looks terrible. Yep. Look at that. This thing doesn't start to look like it's bottoming out until sometime in April, so you could go much lower on this guy. Oof, that is not a good looking chart. Joby is just horrid. Congrats to you guys that shorted it up here like I did, but I gave up on it in this area here because it was just annoying how it was just sitting in place for the longest time. I don't have the patience for that. I just don't have much patience. You can see that here how nicely the cycles line up too, right? Here's your positive phase. Oh man, look at that, get clobbered in that negative phase right there. Oof. Oh man. All right, let's get on to something else. Let's get on to, how about PayPal? This thing is, this thing is looking hideous as well. So here we had what we thought was some sort of corrective pattern, which I had labeled, I thought the 5 would come here, but it ended up coming here, and it actually even failed, right? But you did get your 5. You see here how and sometimes the cycle indicator shows that like you still have more upside, but what actually ends up happening is that the price goes against it. That's why it's so important to actually review what's going on with the price itself. The interesting part is here how you have this, which indicates a cycle coming up. Look at how the cycle completely failed. This did not come up at all. This did. You had some sort of cycle happening in there. This responded. Here is another fail right here. This cycle failed as well, so it just came back up. It was a quick one. What can we say about PayPal? Well, if you're in PayPal, that's I'm sorry, because technically there's no explanation for why the stock is trading the way it is, but because on fundamentals it's supposedly doing really well. Actually, let's see the last earnings. How did they do? Is this a miss? Oh goodness, yeah, Yeah, that was a big miss. So what can we make of this? I mean, technically this looks like it went bottom channel, top of the channel, bottom of the channel, and now it just broke through the channel. This is technically, I don't know what to make of this chart. This is really, really a hideous chart. Could we have a look below with an island reversal possible? That is quite possible. I can't even make out an Elliott wave count. I'm not going to lie here, because technically you could be looking here. What do we make of this? You have a 5 here, but then it just completely crashes out. So what would you call this? A, B, and then C to the depths of hell. I truly don't know what to make of this chart. There's just nothing here that makes sense. Can you say this is 1, 2, like a 1, 2, 1, 2, that sort of thing? 3 ends right here. 4. 4. No, I'm truly baffled with this. Sometimes I like how people try to make Elliott waves out of things that aren't really there. But I'm gonna be honest. This is nothing. This is no Elliott wave count for me. This is like, throw it out with the garbage and just don't look at it. Remove it from your list. There's nothing there that tells you anything. Let's look at Amazon. Amazon following nicely right down its cycle. Look at that. Boom. Right? So we could start looking for a cycle bottom on this guy all the way out in April. All the way out in April. That means this guy could come out pretty hard. Pretty hard, you guys. See how it followed right here? And this just kept going and going and going. Let's find that cycle again. See if it fails at times. Right, so here you can see that price is not respecting the cycle. It's sort of going up with it, ignores it, and that's when you know there's real strength in the stock, when it ignores what it's supposed to be doing on the downside. So here again, let's see what this one did. Okay, so we had the top matching the top. Next bottom came at the end of this leg. So you could see that the decline wasn't necessarily as big as you would have thought that it was supposed to go with this cycle. So, but if you look at the cycle, you have an A, B, C structure inside the cycle, and guess what? Here's your A, B, C, A, B, C, right there. So that was corrective. So, how can we interpret that? Well, this could be A, B, C, right? It's that simple. So you're looking here for an A, B, C structure, or yeah, I would say you could make an argument that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that to the downside. But you know, we could have the levels kind of starting to match up right here, you know, but expect this to go kind of sideways at least for a while until it meets up with that base right there. I wouldn't expect this to start turning around and going back up. I don't see it. There's no reason for it. Here's the cycle, matches. Here's the cycle, matches, and now we have this negative side of the cycle. This is going to start to bottom out, eventually starting to turn up again. So we're in a negative phase of the cycle right now, which perfectly matches and aligns with that. So let's see what else we can say about it. You can clearly see that all the different time frames, stochastics are all negative. This is about to bottom out here, so we can start sort of looking for small bounces. But overall, the pressure, yellow and green, is still to the downside, just like here when you had this downside negative pressure. And this is negative too. Why do I say we can start looking for a bottom? Well, check this out. So here you had a declining phase, right? And what was happening here with this indicator is that you had a big divergence. So this guy tends to like to bottom out way down here in the depths, right between, let's say, 29 and 39. So this one was back at 27, and that's when you had a bottom. Price started to go up again. This one is starting to reach for those depths as well. We are already at 23, looks like. So the orange line got to 19 on this one. So that's the problem here, is that the orange line is still way far away from anywhere around 19. So if we could say, look at this one, look at how deep the orange line got here. This got all the way to 28. This one got to 20. This one, not so big of a drop. This one got to 11. However, you can see that that was only corrective, and then the price crashed again. So you could very well have a scenario that plays out this way, where we look for a bounce here, and then it's going to completely fail, which that would be actually worse for Amazon than if it just kind of trickled down, right? Because here's that ABC structure that we're looking for, right? So here, let's undo that. That wasn't supposed to happen. Okay. So here, what would actually be much worse is if this bounces here into a B, because then you're gonna have a dead C drop right there, just absolutely disgusting drop. So we'd rather have this sort of be, let's like a B, and then slowly put in a 5-wave sort of to the side right there, just trickle down a little bit. Then we can say we're taking off, and this is going to be really positive when it gets there. But if we get a big bounce here, guys, this is going to be A, B, C, B, C. Bye-bye. All right, so you got to be super careful with this. We need to start seeing if we can get a bounce in these things at all. All right, so that wraps up this video for today. It looks like nobody joined the chat, which is super great. I know I need to make more videos. I don't really have time to sit here and make all these videos, but I hope you guys found this useful. I hope you guys subscribe. Don't forget, give it a like and all that stuff, because I'm competing against people that are I don't know, not very good at this stuff and trying to figure out what's going on with the market, and they're kind of giving stories that are trying to build some sort of narrative around stuff, and that's just, the chart leads the way, the narrative is just follow. The chart leads, sorry about that. The chart leads the way, and the narratives just kind of follow what the price is doing. So that's it for now. I will catch you guys next time. You will have a good Saturday, and yeah, catch you next time.